uh, there's some forward motion here. I'm pretty happy with that because I've never really been that successful with using my certification and my knowledge with the, my my diploma to teach it like an in-classroom thing.
Yeah.
I've never had very much success with that. Just I did it for 6 months one time and for my reserve. And there's one person that knows one word that I was teaching. Of all the words I was teaching, one person.
One person, one word.
Yeah.
For 6 months.
Yeah.
It's a slow read.
And the word was medium. Medium, yeah. And it was my stepson, and his name is Jim. So he said, I remember one word, medium. Well, that's really neat. You're learning to remember by association.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, geez. Anishna.
Oh, mi bueno,
Bueno,
Temakwechiga.
Temakwechiga. What did we do?
You know, this morning, the president was trying to do a video out in the.
I saw that.
Yeah, out in the the atrium.
Yeah.
It was too noisy. So they moved they moved their recording into inside.
Yeah.
Then they're asking me how do you say welcome? So I said Bindigan. Then they said, is that what DI or no DI, Bindigan? I said, I think it's with an I, Bindigan. Because you could say Bindek too, right?
Yeah.
Bindigan. So anyway, she says, oh, okay, I've heard that word before, but I always forget it. And I said, well, here's a good way to remember the word Bindigan. Pretend you guys are playing tag and you're using a beanbag. And then you get whipped in the head. You got beamed again. Oh my gosh, that would stick, she said.
Word association.
Yeah, you got beamed again. So you got to try to find all sorts of strategies to try to have them learn the language and learn the words, right?
Yeah. It's
so medium. Like I was just hearing your story about medium there. It does help, like using those kind of associations.
Yeah,
I've seen somebody do that before too. Yeah, but I think repetition and just hearing it all the time there. Yeah, my sister Cabin, she recently started working at the daycare in Wiki at the Hub Center, and what they did was they hired a bunch of teachers, well, not teachers, fluent speakers, and they didn't even have to have their ECE or teachers' papers or nothing, as long as they went to an interview and they're fluent in their language. So their job is to just be in the daycare all day and just use the language. So as long as the little kids, like from age 2 to age 4, age 5, as long as they hear the language all day, they're being immersed in it, right?
Yeah.
So the kids are already picking up some of the language. And one of the little kids one day, she was telling me, one of the little kids one day, they're fighting over a toy.
Yeah.
Then one of the little girls goes, Tugungucha. It's kind of like, get the heck out of my way, right? Tugungucha. And they're going, oh my gosh, who said that word? Like, we have to be teaching them good words. Yeah. So it's fun, like trying to teach and learning the language. And so whenever she comes to visit me, she always shares a story about language from the Hub Center.
Yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
Yeah. So they're asking me, what kind of resources should we use? I go, well, human resources. You're the resources. At that age, they're not reading and writing yet.
No, no.
They're just hearing language. So
Songs.
yeah,
And-
they're not.
And that's when they're taking in lots of
they're not
information.
going to differentiate between English and Ojibwe.
No.
They're just going to say ani as if it's doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So the kids are now saying ani manigajap, gikim gush bakda.
Yeah.
We go sing doggy jaw. So they're teaching them these basic words, right?
Yeah.
So the elders are getting all teary-eyed, eh? It doesn't take much for a 2-year-old and 3-year-old to pick up the
No,
language,
it doesn't take it out.
Oh,
No.
because they're like little sponges, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really, I think it's a good strategy. Like,
It's the
You know-
long game strategy.
yeah, like
Yeah.
why do we have to have a ECE papers or a
Not
degree
a
when
bunch of EC in the classroom for numbers and ratios.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's what they've done for like a couple of the
Yeah.
welfare centers down in Toronto area.
yeah,
I'm an EC by first trade,
yeah,
second life.
okay,
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Mhm.
But then having extra bodies in the classroom relieves the stress and makes the classroom safer and more fun.
yeah,
Absorption of new materials and languages goes down a lot faster.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they have the simple books like
The 1, 2,
Like-
3s and the animals. And
Yeah,
I have a
a
couple
hat,
of those.
cat, bat, sat, like, and I said, well, just use the same books and do it in Ojibwe.
Yeah.
They're not gonna read that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
She said.
Mind you, it won't rhyme like that in Ojibwe.
Do a little skit on Dora.
What I find is a lot of Indigenous literature for young people is too wordy. Like Cat in the Hat on the
Mhm.
mat is very simple and it's sequential, but then when you look at like Indigenous young person's literature or like early years literature, yeah, it's too many words for picture ratio and the words are very convoluted.
Mm.
So I wish there was more simplistic. But finally they're fine.
I've seen somewhere like pictures of a hat, and it's a weak one.
Yes, there are some.
Picture of a shoe, moccasin. I think the graphic novels are good,
Yes.
with
I do-
pictures.
I do a couple of them.
Yeah. So I heard your program was really successful this summer. I only seen positive things on Facebook and people getting all emotional and they really enjoyed it. So congrats again.
That's
Like, there's always little bumps when you have an event, but
Yeah.
no one focuses on those at the end. We focus on all the positives. So
Yeah.
I heard some really good stuff about it. Tammy Gibbons said she just totally enjoyed it, and a
Mhm.
few other people. So that's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
Continue with what you're doing, and
I think what's supposed to happen happens. It's part of the forming a group.
yeah,
You go through some storming, and then after a while you go to norming.
Have you stormed yet with this group?
Yeah, there's been a couple of storms. Little things happening here and there, and some of them are only things that I would notice because being trained to observe.
Yeah,
You
I've
know,
seen the little storms, like thunder clouds, but on the edges of person to person, but not as a whole group.
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
I love the big storm.
I wanted to do a warm up thing that would
Yes,
put everybody
yeah,
into my vision so that I would be able to know, and they would know, and they would be able to understand how to treat each other, and like there's so many good warm up things out there. It's unbelievable. Yeah, and they have fun doing them.
yes.
And they whenever that happens, they get this aha. We went through this. Aha, there it is, and nobody gets into a panic or nothing happens. It just It was we used it when we did I went to advanced. I was trained advanced in trauma.
Yes.
Yeah, and we went through those exercises, and people saw themselves wherever they were going to be.
Yep.
Yeah, your personality and your experience and everything comes right out, and you can go to a map and see. Okay, there I am, right there. It's really neat. So I'm hoping to be able to have a chance to use that at some time because it's a shortcut to farming.
When would you do it? When you get a new cohort? Because technically this cohort's been together for 2 seasons.
Yeah. I'd probably open it up with a whole new
cohort.
Yeah.
I heard the fall one is going to be in the end of August, which is brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
yeah. I came with the ADPL last August. Like we started the 20th of August, and that was brilliant time to start school.
Yeah, it's good. So this things are, but the news that's coming back is some words are being picked up, and we haven't even ever done the 3-day Ojibwe three Ojibwe speakers in the group for 3 days.
No, we only
Yeah.
we went for 1 year.
Yeah, everybody else is doing it already, but they're not doing it the way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
3 people are supposed to speak the language among everybody else. Everybody else goes around, does their own time. But the other one says Ojibwe only for everybody.
Yep.
And I'm saying Ojibwe for only those 3 people, and the rest of the people can speak whatever language they want to speak. Do whatever they want, because the brain is already going to take you to the language being learned. Mm-hmm. The brain is going to take you there. It doesn't matter what everybody else is saying. You're still going to be focused on Ojibwe. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be faster as a result of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you train the brain to recognize the words in Ojibwe, because otherwise it's just a bunch of gibberish. Mm-hmm. And after a while, you start to hear the language and you start to speak the language. And when you start to speak language, because it's so different, your face gets sore.
Yes.
Yeah, your muscles, you're using different muscles.
Yeah, the Jujuan, you can see it in his mouth. His mouth droops, and he goes a little grin more when he speaks.
Yeah.
More of the Ojibwe when he speaks than his English.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's really neat because you go through all that.
Yine şıksı bayağı aldı. Maciz bunu nimboça gibi aldı.
Oh, kimbocha. Yeah.
Bu kişi ne yaptı ni bayağı aptı. Bu ni skonaklı ni bu macana.
Eşkom gune kenda odan setan Anishinaabemowin.
Oh.
Bu ne gune gidin işte. Amigo.
Abdü kupne bu non danwe.
What?
Abdü kupne de non danwe. Non danwe.
Amigo yo. Yeah.
İşte kupne non danwe. Dönen kazı ni kupne.
Amigo.
Man de sigo me var ju bu kucing. Ne yaptığına ne? Gerugu ni massen.
Gegus after skonon gochena boya zage vet giz skapchuko jena daya coaching mi go gegu ne jaya. Yeah.
When is good?
Go Gwenezga. Can go Kevin. The whole Ontario is getting a smudge.
Yeah.
Yes, it is being smudged.
Probably for all the mining corporations in the north, trying to smudge them.
It's getting really. I was the day before yesterday was really Saturday. It was bad in Sudbury.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because we were loading up. Me and Kevin were loading up. We were getting kind of a little breathless. I was really affected. Yeah. I didn't know there was a fire close by.
Nor did I. Not until I woke up and I could see it in the air.
Oh, yeah, well, we're not talking about the afternoon. We're talking about morning.
I know. I know. I didn't help in that population either. like for an hour, there was a queue into the dump that Saturday morning too. You're like idling and waiting. And then you cross the wait line, and then there's no traffic in the dump itself.
So where did you get these?
Those were all okay. The coiled one was cheapest on. Was the only place was the Good Mine.
This one here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other two, I'm sorry to say, was cheaper on Amazon.
Are those Ojibwe dictionaries?
Yeah.
Mm.
They were the ones I took photos of at the camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shirley's done a lot of work with this, with the language and everything. She's really been in there for many years now.
So Lorney, if someone's driving a boat or a car, you would say "dake," right?
Dake.
Dake. Look at dake. And if someone said you could also say "mibizochiga."
Mibizochiga, yeah.
But mibizochiga is to actually run the whole vehicle, eh? Mibza.
Yeah.
Mibza.
Yeah.
Mibizochiga. So mibizochiga and dake are different in that way, where dake is to literally steer
you're the
a
driver
boat or
the
a car.
driver. Yeah.
And mibizochiga is to
you're an operator.
You're operating the vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you say steering or driving in Ojibwe? You said, "Oh, dake." Yeah. Mishi, that is not a car. I was no dake. Mibizochiga. Michiga, you kick an arm the mawa. Mibza ni na odaba. Mibza. Mibizochiga. So you're actually that's the term to actually operate the entire vehicle, like a conductor maybe on the train.
Yeah.
Right? So in dake is to literally steer.
You're steering
left or right,
Yeah.
That's a little nuances of language, eh?
Yeah. There's I guess the difference is in it's like that's the consciousness of the language. I think that's what they mean. That's part of the consciousness. Medabanago. When you're Medabanago, you could also be steering.
Yeah.
You could also be just a passenger.
Yeah.
Medaba. So there's the whole thing like it's like you know, you're fishing, but you're doing it in a different way.
Yeah.
Different period, even a different season. You know.
Interesting how gigo is a noun, then gigo care. You use that two letters till it becomes a verb, right?
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, Anishinaabe language is mostly verb based, right?"
Yeah.
But when you look at the word blueberry pie, it's a multiple compound noun.
Yeah.
Nina bishbot signe bakwejidan. Nina bashbit signe bakwejidan, right?
Yeah.
So blueberries, jam, the crust, you're preparing the crust.
Yeah.
And the bread, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole. But if you know the language, your mouth starts to water.
Yeah. So there's four. It's a multiple compound noun word, right?
Yeah.
Very little other languages have four words that are compound nouns, but yet linguists tell us, "Oh, Ojibwe language is verb based."
Yeah.
But you could turn any word into a verb by just adding ke to the end, or depending on what you're trying to turn the word into.
Yeah. You can say even bindiged. You could say bindiged set, bringing wood in.
Yeah.
Instead of just coming in.
Yeah. Now it's a verb.
Yeah.
The descriptive, right?
Yeah, it's a really neat, it's a neat language that, so you could just teach the nouns and then add on at the end and.
Jimanke, Dabanke,
Dabanke,
Jibakwe.
Jibakwe.
Yeah. You just add, so you could turn any noun into a verb, literally.
Just
go
add
back
the
and
KE.
forth.
Yeah. So, Tigwake. Bingense. Dashkage. There's about 3 different words that you can say all from that one word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun with the language.
Yeah, you can.
Multiple meanings too. Well, like in English language. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other day I was talking to somebody about the different meaning of the same word according to different tribes. Like Skan Mandandabad. That's one person was saying to a person from Sagamore, person from Wukwamakong was telling person from Sagamore because he was working on the farm there. He says, Skan Mandandabad. So when the guy from Wukwamakong went away, then he came back later. There was a big smoke coming out of his well and everything. Because the same word means skan means to set it on fire.
Yep.
And the other word is drain it. Drain
the wall so you can clean it. So skatendoban could also mean the wall has been drained so you can clean it.
Yeah.
Because the Anishinaabe from time to time would drain the wells. And how you do that is just keep pulling the pails of water out. Then you would go literally clean it. Like maybe there's dead snakes in there or frogs or whatever.
We just did that to our lot. We had like this much mud at the bottom.
Yeah, so we would say skandoban, like to dry it out, right?
Yeah.
But also means to burn it.
Set it on fire. Yeah, there's
not during the fire ban.
Yeah. I got to understand it quite a bit because I used to hang out with a lot of young guys in Wukwamakong, so that you learn lots. You have a different rhythm than Ojibwe.
Mm-hmm.
You have a different rhythm in Wukwamakong, and it's really neat to that there was once between Wukwamakong and West Bay is not very much distance.
No. So
one time there was my cousin got mad at my other cousin, and he says to my cousin says to the other cousin, and the other guy turns around and says, all I'd have to do is hit you once. And the other guy says, I could hit you a whole bunch of times. In the midst of a real mean argument, they start laughing at each other.
Yep.
It's really funny because you don't speak the language, but you're hearing it, and you know exactly what's being said.
Yep.
Yeah, simply by listening. Down in Atikamesheng and Sagmok, we don't have that word. We have Gidapkitew. It's a different way. You can't play around with it the way you can say weapon. Yeah.
Na again buting na Jeffchigo ba. Ekonomageda den bezor na. We come combines chicken. Kina ekonomag sa jigo bozando out na. And sige is got this chicken English da ban go na. And sige is good ba. Give episode chicken na na. Ida ka la na da ba na. Ni so de go shenga. Jiba kwega mongshga pichigi is got ni naki. Naze kwena. Yunage naki tga gaya jok ni. Jok we pop is a sea. Chicken na we come from 이거 드비노 지노 비제브나트 니 아츠코니야 omnaze quest jiba kweka mgomna amaban jeffro ni iskuna apjigo wave and the get money gishkakna apjigna wave not squad and the neck no magazine jenna wave talk na nisha money gishkat guna mage na no gishkat akadamna gujing so the nani bani ni kino mage dabani man the yes chigani the bagi so the na man ni desni akadat Wat is nou een benoemd dan aan de ene dat je economisch zijn. Ani kede schijn na economisch zit na. Wat is goed nek wat boost ben kede gaan. Ani de gewoon snel presence. Wat is goed nek wat boost ben kede. Ni is goed na geen en dan maar nee. Wat boos zot abaning. Chip catch real presence wa penige den mano na me ki bizage adek namag se ki bozan do taban ya poi kom wat tan daban go ngana mani ki zit ya bjega snap au ga so there used to be this bus driver his name was the late Jack Trudeau and he drove the bus for about 38 years 40 years. And he drove the bus from Wiki to Chiging, to Manitoulin Secondary School. So Wiki didn't have a high school at that time. So he drove back and forth. And so Monday to Thursday, he didn't mind driving slow or fast because it's Monday, it's Thursday. But on Fridays, he drove really fast because it's Friday, right? So
he bouncing in the back seat like this.
Yeah. So he would go from Wiki to Chiging, and the kids would all get off the bus. And then after kids got off the bus, he'd go park it on the other side. Then he'd put on a white uniform and a white hat. So he would cook because why drive back and forth to Wiki when you could take a part-time job, do all kinds of things at MSS. So he was actually a cook. So he would put on his white suit, his white hat, and he was a baker. He was a chef, right? So he would cook, So on Fridays, he would rush really fast, cooking and everything. Then he would tell the kids, "It's Friday, guys. It's Friday, and make sure you're at the bus early." And so he's sitting at his bus, and the kids aren't showing up. It's Friday, right? He's looking at his watch. And then finally, he gets out of the bus, and one student comes by, and he's going, "Where's everybody? Where are these people that are supposed to get on my bus?" And then the student goes, "What?" He goes, "Where are these people that's supposed to be getting on my bus?" And then the student just burst out laughing. "Oh, I heard it the wrong way. Okay, where are these people?" So anyway, so what the bus driver said, "Where are all these?" So to get on a car is boza. And waboza is where these people that are supposed to board my bus. Right? Where are these people that were supposed to board my bus? But wabos is to get on the vehicle to board. But wabos is also a word for a rabbit. And pinik is a pin, and pinik is our word for potatoes. So the student thought, why is he saying we're all these rabbit potatoes or rabbit potatoes? And the student didn't understand. He thought maybe he started on his Mickey an hour early. Then when she figured out Wabus Pinig also means where are these people that are going to board on my bus. So Boza, right? So the language can be so a lot of the jokes in Anishinaabemowin don't start out as jokes. It's just how people misinterpret or interpret the language,
Yeah, it's just where the emphasis is on the word.
Yeah,
there's quite a lot of words like that. Like even I also have something to say to him.
Mhm.
And it also means I also have something to say to him. And the other word is I have something that's dirty.
Mhm. Yeah,
The Angogeniwa.
yeah.
There's some really, really fancy ways of using the language. You could never really be a poet.
Mm.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
So Atikamesheng literally means the place of the whitefish.
Yes.
So when I was teaching at St. James, a lot of the teachers at St. James, it's in Lively. I used to teach there long ago. And they'd say, what does Atikameksheng mean? I said, I believe it means the place of the whitefish. So Atikamek is a whitefish, yeah? Atikameksheng identifies the place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Atikameksheng. Then they later asked me, well, what does you're from Wacomican, right? And I said, what does Wacomican mean? I said, well, Wikwa means bay, and mek means beaver, and ong is the descriptive of place. So a lot of our place names end in eng, ong, ang, eng. So those are descriptive of place. Manitowoning, Tikmekshing, Wacomican, Chiging, they all end in eng, ong, ang. So Wacomican historically, well, they said during the fur trade there was lots of beaver there, but there's actually a clan, a very strong family that was from the area called Amikok. So they named an elder center there, Amikok. So the Amikok were one of the first clans that were on the eastern end of Manitoulin. So I believe that's why they call it Wikwea Amek Ong. Wikwea Amek Ong. Yeah. So Chiging on Manitoulin is kind of like a short form. So like Wacomican, we call it wiki because it's the word so long. So everybody says wiki. Well, Chiging is also like a wiki, but it's stuck. So that's their official name. So the real name for Chiging is Michigi Wedanong. Michigi Wedanong. Michiging is the short form. Michigi Wedanong means the Great North, or we the North, like the Raptors. Same concept. Michiging, we the North, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's what that means. And what's his name from Jib Turner, from Turner's in Little Kern. Yeah. Turner's has been one of the longest stores that have been around on Manitoulin that's European. So Jib Turner was working on a map a while back, and he wanted to know how we used to say Little Kern. So again, it ends in ong and ong, so it's webejiwong. So it literally means a place where the waters meet and they either go east or west. Mm-hmm. So a current. So in our language, weweb means swing. Okay. Wewebza. Or wewebjiwan is when the waters meet, they go this way and then it turns into a current.
So what's whirlpool?
What's that?
What's whirlpool?
Whirlpool? What do you mean, whirlpool?
Shabajwan.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm just talking about Little Kirk right now.
Water's move, and then so it's like, okay, whirlpool is a current. So it's like, does it have the same origin? Well, no, obviously it doesn't.
Shebjuang, you said? Shebjuang? What's that?
Shibajwan.
Oh, okay, yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I guess that's the word. Well, where Webijuang is, so it's where the waters can either go in either direction. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's how we described it, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is all major place names end in ing, on. So it's a descriptive of place. Yeah. So Gorbey is Pashkedenong. Yeah. Pashkedenong. It means like a meadow on a hill. were like a lookout.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But there's a place people got confused with Webijawang and Obijawang.
Obijawang, yeah.
Obijawang is literally Wolsey Lake when you go towards west of Little Current. So that was the official homeland of the Sagmuk people, like from 1,000 years ago, before they moved to the North Channel, the north side.
Yeah.
So I heard that from Gene Cada. He said a lot of the Sagmuk people moved to the north side, but they maintained communities at both places for the longest time until the settlers arrived and they kind of pushed them out of Lake Wolsey.
Oh, okay.
But Obijawang, I asked my uncle one time, what does that mean? He goes, oh, Abijawang.
Yeah.
Abijawang.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's I heard that before too. What's his name? He used to be the director at Rainbow Lodge there.
Al Shana?
Al Shana. Yeah, he had the same story.
Yeah, Al Shana. Yeah. That's where I heard it from.
Is that right?
That was my uncle.
Oh yeah.
Uncle, yeah.
Okay, yeah. He was the director when I was there.
Yeah, you know he was a Navy SEAL, eh?
Yeah.
In his younger days, yeah. He was in the States.
Yeah, because nobody they used to look at him. The rest of the staff used to look at him because he would turn a corner in military style. And when he went around the hall,
disappear. Like while everybody's talking, just disappeared.
Yeah.
One time, one of the clients there, when he found out he was in the military, he challenged them, and all Al said in Ojibwe was, I could probably kill you in 100 different ways. Yeah. So when he first returned home, he had old those microfiche, the old fashioned where you put the slides in.
Oh, okay.
So he took pictures of overseas. They lived in Venezuela on stilts in the water.
Yeah.
So the military took them all over the world, and so my dad said, "You really gotta bring this to the Pontiac school, the school, eh?" So he came into the school and he would do slideshows for all the kids.
Is that right?
Of course, it was pretty amazing to us. Back in those days, there was no social media or there's no technology. So when he came in, we were just totally amazed at all the different places he had traveled to. Eh? But when he returned home, he was working at Rainbow Lodge there. Yeah.
I used to laugh at his jokes. Oh my God. One time he come out and says, there's an advertisement in the paper. You should apply. That's why. He says, well, they're looking for a human cannonball. Yeah. Must be of high caliber. You literally had to be a scholar to get his jokes. Oh my God. Must be of high caliber. Yeah, we used to go to workshops together because we used to retrain as we were going through our work over there. So he'd get me to go with him because he'd drive along and he'd be telling me these stories. I'd be laughing. And then he would say, he didn't say, he wouldn't say open sesame. He would come to the door and he's open sesame. And I'd laugh. And other people would say, what's so funny, Lorney? You never heard of Alibaba, Yeah.
So when my family asks me how am I doing, I say nuts and honey. Nothing honey.
Nothing honey. Jeez.
Is there any other words you would be interested in learning? So you want to know whirlpool, right?
Yeah, because we're talking about currents in motion.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Hmm. Yeah. I think once upon a time we had a word for everything you can imagine, everything and anything, but residential schools kind of disconnected a lot of that. But we're slowly reconnecting and bringing it back, yeah. Like even for me, I didn't know all my colors in Anishinaabemowin until I went to university and really reflected on colors, then then I relearned them, right? So we're just some of us. I speak for myself anyway. I'm just reconnecting to some of the language. Although I was raised in the language, I learned English in grade 1 or grade 2. So we're still reconnecting. So when you said whirlpool, it would take me some time to think about that. Yeah, yeah, because it's not part of our daily vocabulary.
Yeah.
Yeah, but usually if you see it in a dictionary, then it comes back to you too. So that's a more of a reference for a lot of us. It's not like probably for Lorney and I, there's probably no word in there we haven't seen, but because we haven't used it daily, we have to look it up. Then when we see it, we recognize it, eh?
Yeah.
We recognize it. So it's more of a like a reference, eh? Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you have a good grip of the language, you can when something new comes up, you can come up with a word for it because you see the picture, so you describe the picture. Like a vacuum cleaner, eh? It's let's see if you got a word for vacuum cleaner, And I say, we wash it. We got saying we wash chicken, eh? I just made it up because I didn't want to get stumped. The guy's challenging me, eh?
Yeah.
So I says, we got saying we wash chicken. Oh, okay.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be. Like,
yeah,
you're vacuuming dust.
Yeah.
Not like today where kids are vacuuming up toonies and loonies.
Exactly.
Or pens. So the language is descriptive, right? See, even for the word television, like misinatasajigan. So the root word there is misin. Because before the TV, we had art and pictures. So our word for a picture would be misinchigan. And the root word there is misin and a painting. So misinchigan literally means rock painting.
Yeah.
So the first art or the first, I guess, public art pieces were red ochre rock art, right? Kind of like what still exists out there. So that in our language, that's misin. Misin meaning rock and chigan meaning the painting, right? So then later, so misin chigan, mizinates chigan literally means moving pictures.
Yeah.
So, so the word gets really long, then over time it becomes syncopated. Like it becomes like in the English language, like all languages, it gets small again, right? Like kind of like our word for phone, gigdo biwap kons. So when I was a kid, I'm probably dating myself. When I was a kid, I would go with my grandmother to the guy's house. We only had one person who had a phone.
Yeah.
And we'll come on. And when I went there, my grandmother, forget how much she paid, maybe a nickel or a dime to use the phone. So we went in, and the phone was literally a great big piece of metal. It was really heavy. So I remember grabbing it. So in our language, metal is biwabik, right? So our first word for telephone was gigdo biwabik or gigdo biwapkons. So the metal, a piece of metal that you talk into to communicate. Gigdo biwapkons. So now, but we don't call this gigdo biwapkons anymore. We just call it biwapkons or wapkons. In Wiki, we say wapkons.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the language becomes syncopated.
Yeah.
It gets smaller, right? I guess kind of like Michigi Wednong and Chiging.
Yeah, it's it evolves. It
Yeah,
evolves.
it evolves for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
There's a guy in Sagamok that they call him Nijwasagijic. Nijwasagijic, 7 day, because he was pictured working 7 days a week. So that became his identity, his Nijwasagijic. So that's what they called him, Nijwasagijic. What would be termed today as his name was Nijwasagijic. And so my generation, we called him Nijwasagijic, because Ojibwe was still our first word in Sagamok and all. So the people that the kids, the younger generation to us, they turned around and called them as 7 day. They translated from New York to 7 day.
Yeah.
So my kids would have called them 7 day, because they didn't want to say New York. We were starting to have two languages, and they call them 7 day. And now the grandkids, we call them 7. It changed into English, and then they shortened the English. 7. Yeah, it's pretty neat. And that's when you take a good look at how things evolve, and how they say, well, I want to be able to speak. I want to be able to speak Ojibwe, because I want to keep that language. And you can try all you want, but it's still going to evolve within its own body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, language isn't static. Language and culture, it keeps evolving. And the kids play with the words in the language too. You see it.
Yeah.
In a good way. They'll say bokshka or brokshka.
yeah,
When
Bokshka.
they're short of money, they'll say bokshka. So
Bokshka.
bokshka means when you break a stick, right?
Yeah.
The kids will say bokshka and broke, right?
Broke.
Or some of them, they want to take a break, a 15-minute break. They'll say, "I'm a bokshka."
Yeah, Bokshka. Yeah.
We should bring that one to camp.
Yeah. We Bokshka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun language. I asked Isidore Day. I said, "Is your name really Anishinaabe before Day? Gishgat?" He goes, "Yeah, I believe so, but it wasn't Gishgat." He said it was a day, heart.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I guess that was the original name.
Yeah.
Before we turned it to Day. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Damon, Day. Heart or Heartberry.
Yeah, like neat. Well, you're all ready for the next camp out.
I'm actually doing today. I'm going to go do some camping for my program.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do a solo, like 3 nights, 4 days.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to go do that after this.
Oh, okay.
It's not a complicated thing. It'll be great. It's not like it's like a moving camp and you're going to, no, you like, I'm going to Grundy Lake.
Oh yeah.
Go and like have a campsite by the beach. Like I got a perfect one, which is like the water here, like the water taps here, the beach is there, and the toilet's across the street. So it's like it's the perfect campsite with partial shade. That's like, yeah. I know it's not popping out, but it's definitely the easier version of solo camping.
Yeah. Some people have a hard time with that sunlight now. Other people are okay with it. You got I can handle 20 minutes. I used to be out there all day picking blueberries when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I could pick blueberries all day. gonna be a lot of berries this year, so I probably might get a chance to go berry.
This is what keep saying.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about the strawberries. There's not enough rain.
No, no. But you never know, it might rain the rest of everyone.
They're good. It's unlikely. Good. Really nice.
Is there any words that you are interested in hearing or learning?
It's involving maple syrup.
Maple syrup? Okay. So maple is menotic. Syrup is so you would say menot go ziwagamede. Is that pretty close, Lauren?
Yeah,
Menot go ziwagamede? Maple syrup?
Not to go
Maple syrup?
maple syrup.
Yeah.
Not to go. Not to go. All I remember really, really well is Sisigons. Sisigons. It's the when you put the
Oh,
fresh.
Yeah, and you make the ice lollies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I always remember that.
So when is the winter? Because I heard it was going to be in. I heard it's going to be in November.
I heard it was February.
Yeah, I think it's after January before classes. That was one option.
You mean over Christmas holidays?
So that was a thought. I don't know what's happening.
You're gonna have an uproar and a riot. You're gonna have it over Christmas holidays.
I don't know what's going on.
I heard it was February. I'm not sure.
February would be good.
Yeah.
If I have to do winter camping, February is the best month for it.
Overreading.
No, you're gonna miss all your ADVLers because your ADVLers don't camp. You know, we have a trapping course that happens usually. Yeah, but you could.
It's tough to cook in winter because most people aren't gonna want to miss a week. Like I would not have been able to if I was still an undergrad because you can't miss labs ever.
You can miss labs as long as you.
Only for like a family death. They're very, very strict.
Really?
Oh yeah.
We could have missed labs.
Not my labs.
It'll labs gone. Yeah, it's supposed to depend who is your lab from.
All of them were annoyed when my grandma died. So here's her obituary. Like
Her
her funeral
funeral
today. I can't take it.
I'm sorry, I had no control over it. The divine God said it was now.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Menot go zizbak, which is maple sugar. Yeah, menot go zizbak.
She's walking.
Winter camps, is it a moving camp or a stationary camp?
Same.
Stationary? Then you probably not going to have them. I'm going back to logistics. My logistical mind has come into it. So how do you say I'm going camping?
Nagpagbeshi.
Make
Nagpagbeshi.
love wish.
Nagpagbeshi. Kabeshu. Yeah. Means you're going to stay overnight.
Yeah.
Anytime we go out to spend the night and have a meal and that new wish. There's a few other words, so can't think about them right now. Should make them. There's 6 words I got to learn. And my tricky way of learning learning how to give 6 words. Yeah, there's it's just you're just there for a little while, you're gonna move on.
Mhm.
Sure. Yeah, it's me with the water, and you're going there to live, have a house and everything. Yeah, and you could also say, even like motels, they call them the Beshugum. Beshugum, there for the night, but you don't live there. Beshugum, just you're gonna camp tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
How would you say a tap for a tree?
A what? A tap? A tap or a cap?
No, a tap.
Some
Tap.
people serve.
Yes.
Oh.
We're having two separate like,
Yeah.
topics.
I was thinking about it. I just learned the word for French the other day. And it's a big deal.
And what is it?
Cheddar move. I never heard that word before.
No,
It took my grandpa a long time to come up with it, and he pretty much only speaks French. And he's like, yeah, it's a. I don't know. It just took like a whole season, and he's like, it's cheddar.
You've how do you? There's a word for it. There's a specific word for that. Tapping a tree. We. Oh gee. It's the way that you're gonna hit your axe. When you tap a tree a long time ago, you would hit it at this ledge with your axe, so that you could then take the maple branch and hook it up, sharpen your thing, and just put it up like that, and then the maple would run down into the pail.
Yeah.
But that motion was what that was called. Geez, I can't think of it right now. If I were to just walk with it, it'll come to me. But it's almost the same word as when you're blazing a trail, and I can't think of that word either. You know, it just means to slice. That's what that word is. Yeah, yes, it's something like that. Yes, yeah.
I've also heard buganegons.
Buganegons. That's the
tapping a tree.
Yeah, that's the old drill.
Make a hole in a tree is buganegons.
Again, you would take the drill and have it this way, and then you would then you'd hook your pipe into it.
But you don't want to go at a 90 degrees. It makes no sense.
No, that's right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like the maple tree, it pulls. There's a way that it pulls all this liquid way up the tree into the branch and everything, but it won't go down like that. No. Did you ever figure that out? How does that sap get pulled way up?
No.
Do you want to know?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So what happens in the tree is that the water molecules, they kind of bind themselves together, so they make a nice little line. Yep. And what they do is they'll go up the tree a little bit, they'll hang on to the side, they'll go up, hang on, and it creates like a vacuum, and that's what pulls it up. That's why we can have trees there in 2 meters. But otherwise, if it was just the pressure of the water going in the roots going up, it would only be 2 meters high. So to do that, we created a vacuum with the leaves.
You see, I read that about 5 days ago, and I couldn't understand it until you showed me.
Yeah.
You know, that's
On to each other.
It's never neat. Yeah, because that's why I asked the question, because I heard it, and then I don't remember. I didn't know how to explain that. That's neat. Now I'd be able to tell somebody.
And then the funny thing is so we have like tubes connecting all our trees, and the tubes, we do a vacuum pulling it, but it needs a little bit of gravity to pull. But say you're trying to pull your vacuum's here, but you're trying to pull from a tree lower, it's really, really tough, right? If you go against gravity, the vacuum's not that good. So what we do is we make sap ladders where the trees would connect all the lower ones to the spot where we make the lines go straight up and down, because it can go straight up, but it can't go on a slant.
Yes.
It's the slightest slant upward, it won't go, but it'll go straight up. It's
Because
just
of
like
the
in a
vacuum,
tree.
eh? Because of the vacuum, yeah.
It'll stick and it'll.
Oh, okay.
It's the weirdest thing. Now we have sap ladders everywhere.
Ever neat, holy catfish. Ever neat to have you in the room here. Be able to do. Yeah.
Talk about maple syrup all day. My dad wanted to send me to school in the States because there's a master's in maple syrup. He's like, that'd be useful. Go do that. Yeah,
Jeez.
we have 1,000 trees. Make a good business there.
The sugar maple, it's indigenous to this area, huh? It's not anywhere else in the world.
It's other places.
Yeah.
Like there's some in Vermont.
No, like Europe or
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
nowhere else.
there's
it's only the
Scandinavia.
sugar maple is only indigenous to North America,
Yeah.
right?
Scandinavia syrup, produces syrup now.
They have maple
Scandinavia,
trees
yeah.
in Europe, but not that, or do they? No,
They're
right?
right. There's different kinds. Eh?
Yeah,
And they have
but they don't have
syrup.
the sugar maple. Yeah, I think this, our region is the only area. Northeastern United States. Yeah.
Why would it be in the US? Quebec produces more maple syrup than Vermont.
Yeah, but Vermont's very, very high tech.
Quebec is the world, isn't it? Is that's the world supplier?
Yeah, like 90% of it.
Yeah.
But there was a bad year a couple of years ago, and they used up half their supply in 1 year.
Yep.
Oh.
So it was really bad.
And that
This
was
year
and that
was a
was-
really bad year.
and that was after the big massive theft
Was there was a massive theft thing?
of maple syrup. Yeah.
Wow.
It's one of the biggest losses and thefts in Canadian history.
Is that right?
In Vermont, there's lots of research down there on it because they don't have snow when they collect their syrup or their sap. So it's really different. And they're starting to, the in thing is to put your lines under the ground.
How do you do? You can't do that here. We have rock.
Can you imagine me digging all over the yard to try to hold the line? And then a squirrel goes down in there and chews it, and then we're gonna find the leak. We can find it when it's above ground, you hear it. Yeah, but then
Why would
and
it?
if it's frozen, how is the sap in it? You know,
Yeah.
lots of issues.
So they want to put it underground because. Okay.
But that's the
For
thing.
aesthetics.
I know. So you're not like climbing over the line every like.
Or done. Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is to use a reverse osmosis.
Yes.
To the point where you don't even have to boil it.
Oh,
And it's its own product and its own name.
that's
You
cool.
just filter. Yeah, it's good too.
Anishinaabe did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reverse osmosis.
Yeah, we have one now, but we only take our sap from 2% sugar to 4 or 5%.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes away half the time. So gets
Wow. Hmm. Yeah, some of the recipes that I've looked at for having doing the 18-hour fast is to use maple sugar, maple syrup, and lemon. Because the original one used to be lemon and honey and water. And they found out that there's more nutritional, whatever it is, in the maple syrup. It's better to use maple syrup than honey. So that's pretty neat because I like maple. I like maple syrup. I even like it in my coffee.
that's the best.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's better for you than white granulated sugar.
Yeah.
Right?
Maple sugar is better for you than white granulated sugar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So traces of calcium, right?
Yeah, it depends where you get it from. Depends what's in the soil, right?
Yeah.
Lots of minerals.
Yeah.
It's
Lots of
good for
minerals.
like cancers.
Mhm.
The other word for that was sigagons. They said you can make a maple syrup, maple sugar cubes. Sigagons. Yeah. Because I used to love those when I was a kid. My grandparents made all those things. Yeah. We used to mix raisins and maple syrup. And, oh yeah. Oh, The tarts.
The butter tart.
Oh, yes. Oh, man, that was it.
Amigos learning.
Samigwech, meanwhile, Samigwech, Kibishai, Chimigwech. I guess he's gonna break up our party, so we might as well go.
Well, those guys logged out like 13 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I'm not being
Vamos a picar,